The podcast interview I released with Judy Bowman yesterday is very timely. I want to talk to you about confusion, misinformation that is dangerous, and how it's got a spiritual aspect and a biochemical nutritional aspect to it. This is nothing new. This is the reason why I created my autism turnaround program over on barefootautismwarriors.com. Since my son was diagnosed in 2004, this idea that there will be one doctor with one breakthrough method that will turn symptoms around for autistic children, that will work for all children, it's been around forever, and it is not the way forward. So now there's a new story about Leucovorin, which is a form of folinic acid that's supposedly able to turn autism symptoms around. Now, when you dig a layer deeper, you know that from William Walsh's nonprofit research, 90 to 98% of all children with autism are undermethylated, which means they are folate intolerant. It doesn't matter if it's leucovorin, folinic acid, methylfolate, folate, even broccoli in high amounts. It acts like a double agent. So it works one way on the outside of the nucleus in the cell and another way on the inside. And it actually can turn on bad genes and often do, such as cancer, and exacerbate symptoms like OCD, rigidity, tantrums, anxiety, severe depression. And because it has this ability to turn on bad genes, it actually increases the risk for cancer, which is why many of the holistic oncology centers now have stopped using green juices, and you should too if you have a child with autism. And remember, the child with autism, it's inherited to be undermethylated, so it's most likely an issue for you as well. Now, there has been doctors focused on hyperbaric oxygen chambers. There are doctors focusing on cerebral folate deficiencies. There are doctors focusing only on heavy metal detox. There are doctors focusing only on stem cell therapy, only on fecal transplants. And it will never work because your child is way too complicated for approaches like that and for protocols like that. The undermethylation is just one example, but it gets really sophisticated with the deception. When you go onto Instagram today and you see all these holistic mom profiles talking about this folinic acid, talking about then MTHFR tests or FRAT tests or invasive tests, that are also not useful for our children. They're not useful for our children because it doesn't tell you whether your child is actively right now undermethylated, or because it's a tug of war between under and over methylation when you're starting to regulate it. And so all these tests are really unreliable. And whenever there's a symptom with autisms, because we got to talk about autism as autisms, because every single child is different. Their needs change all the time. And so your approach must be able to organically deal with that change. You must be able to look at your child and understand what is triggering my child's symptoms right here and now today, because that's different to what triggered the symptoms a week ago or last year. And from that, you need to be able to determine what you do when it comes to nutrition and lifestyle and adjusting your protocol or diet. Protocols don't work, by the way, but the approach that you are engaged in. And when we're talking about symptoms, it's never a one cause, one solution kind of thing with autism. There are always at least 5, normally 10 different causes for each symptom. So these one-size-fits-all solutions, whether it's Nemetschek, whether it's root cause protocol, whether it is the heavy metal detoxification, whether it's the Facebook groups, whether it is the copper groups, all of them have one thing in common, and that is that some of the children will get way worse by following these protocols, and the moms get more and more confused the more Facebook groups they join, the more protocols they follow, the more doctors they listen to, and the more sensational miracle drugs or supplements they are introduced to, because that's not the way. That's not how God designed you to heal or designed your child to function optimally. God designed your body and your child's body to function optimally. You're wonderfully and beautifully made. And in the state of peace is where genes are expressing the way that they should. Gut microbiome is calling for the food that is needed on any given day, whether it's bitter herbs or certain nutrients or minerals. And that's the way it works when animals navigate and roam around in nature. And we are so detached from God's design in nature, that's not happening to us as well. And the more diets we follow, the more experts we follow, the more protocols we follow, the further we get away from that ability. Because the state for optimal health is peace, it's actually mentioned all over the Bible. Peace brings life to the body, envy rots the bones. And Jesus even said, "My peace I give to you, not as the world give you, will I give you peace." So don't look for peace in the world. And here's where the spiritual aspect of autism recovery and healing comes into the picture. Right now, the landscape, politically, nutritionally, health and fitness and wellness wise, is so deceptive and so confused and so wrong, because it brings you the opposite of peace, and it takes you further and further away from being able to receive information from Holy Spirit about what to eat, which is how you're designed to eat. You're not designed to have cravings or binge eating or addictions or look for stimulants in wine and sugar and white bread. Picky eating is not natural, it's not God's design either. And I think this deception is really spiritual as well, because the enemy has always been the one to confuse, destroy, and kill and lie. And so there's nothing more optimal when that is your strategy than keeping moms occupied with all kinds of protocols that will give them some hope, a little bit of change, but no lasting results. And so the sophistication of the deception has to match your level of intelligence and initiative. And you are incredibly intelligent, incredibly motivated and ambitious, and you can't be deceived just by. Do you think the enemy shows up like a horned goat? No, even Satan himself disguised as an angel of light. So the deception will be as sophisticated and as intelligent looking as you are, so that you fall for it and so that you turn away from God's design and peace and get distracted, because what's the opposite of peace? Dis-ease. What are you feeling right now as you're walking around in life with tantrums and screaming, eloping, rashes, infections, stealth infections, gut issues? So the perfect strategy for the enemy is to keep you preoccupied by looking at symptoms. And the symptoms are actually the wake-up call. The symptoms is the envelope with the message from God through your child with the escape plan. The escape plan is in the messaging. The escape plan is in the symptom, it's in the message. That is why, to give you independence, to give you tools to look at your child, know exactly what's triggering a symptom and know what to do about it, so that you can get less symptoms, more independence, more speech, more development, and be able to leave your house, be able to go outside without fearing the next tantrum, is exactly why I designed the Barefoot Autism Warriors community and my group coaching program, to equip you to become that expert that you're looking for in all the wrong places, and also to equip you to be able to listen to God's instruction, but mainly, and this is what we spend most of our time on in the Barefoot Autism Warriors group coaching program, is to learn how to ignore the devil, the enemy, the lies, the deception. And it is everywhere. It's in the matrix, it's in political confusion, it is in holistic health, which is infested by new age influences. So beware right now, there's a war, it's a spiritual war for your soul and your child, between good and evil, between God and the enemy, between actual peace and healing, and distractions and disease and destruction. So this whole story about this miracle drug plays into that. And my podcast with Judy Bowman proves to you that it's way more complicated than that. And that's also why in phase 5 in the program, I have a whole section that took me and Dr. Berenzi over 2 years to make for the moms, where we designed a framework where you become an expert to turn every stone when it comes to PANS, PANDAS, undermethylation, healing the gut, understanding how to eat according to your biotype, how to learn how to read a trigger and deal with regression from your child's unique perspective from moment to moment. And so I've tried to work around all this deception and my own experience, 17 years of experience since my son lost his symptoms, stimming, screaming, sleepless nights, tantrums, eloping, sensory issues. We couldn't go anywhere, couldn't take him anywhere, we couldn't wash his hair. He didn't let us cut his nails. It was just aggression and violence and screaming and echolalia, flicking light switches all day long. And I believe that God is a God of healing. He is a healing God, and this world and the enemy wants the opposite for you. My work is coaching moms, and it's super challenging to get moms to understand this because there's so much deception in this community of autism moms. So I'm using my skills as a coach, as a transformational coach, as a trauma coach, as someone who can create real change by removing distractions. That's what I'm charging for. I'm available to these moms. I have a small group of moms that I help through this process every year. But remember, it took me over 8 years to do it with trial and error and do it yourself. You also have a window for opportunity for your child. And, you know, when you're ready to become that expert, that's when I come into the picture and into the mix. So feel free to send me a message or comment below or connect with me via Messenger. If you're ready, I am too.